To all my wonderful students, subscribers, and disciples. This is your Master GongSun. Welcome to another episode of Taoism as applied to the news. Today's story will feature a former New York Congressman, George Santos. In summary, he told a lot of lies and fabricated a lot about himself to the point where we don't actually know what is true and what is false. Anyway, let's get into the details. George Santos given 7-year prison term for fraudulent congressional run. Republican former representative who had lied about his credentials sobbed in court saying he was humbled. George Santos, the disgraced former representative, was sentenced to more than 7 years in prison on Friday, bringing an end to an extraordinary controversy that began with a fraudulent congressional campaign. He lied extensively about his life story both before and after entering the U.S. Congress, where he was the first openly LGBTQ Republican elected to the body. He was ultimately convicted of defrauding donors. Santos, 36, was sentenced on Friday morning in Long Island, the large suburban area to the east of New York City. He sobbed in court, saying he was humbled and chastised, and realized he had betrayed his constituents' trust. He pleaded guilty last summer to federal wire fraud and aggravated identity theft and had appealed for mercy. I offer my deepest condolences, or rather apologies, he said on Friday, adding, I cannot rewrite the past, but I can control the road ahead. U.S. District Court Judge Joanna Sabert appeared unconvinced by his display of contrition. Where is your remorse? Where do I see it? She asked as she sentenced him to 87 months behind bars. She said the former politician appeared to feel that it is always someone else's fault. He served in Congress barely a year before his House of Representatives colleagues ousted him in 2023. Having flipped his seat to the GOP, it then reverted to the Democrats with Tom Suozzi winning the vacant spot in a special election in February last year. He admitted to deceiving donors and stealing the identities of nearly a dozen people, including his family members, to fund his winning campaign. He also made up strings of fantastical stories about his life, identity, and experiences. During his court case, he frequently held press gatherings and mocked the media and its detractors, saying he was being smeared. Santos was known to have spent donor money on vacations, luxury goods, Botox treatment, and the website OnlyFans. Well, that's not good, because that's not what donor money is supposed to be for, not for personal luxuries like vacations. Shortly before being elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in New York's 3rd Congressional District, Santos was first accused of deceiving voters by the North Shore Leader, a local newspaper in Long Island, which accused Santos of fabricating much of his resume. Santos' sentencing was not without controversy. Before his Friday court appearance, he referred to himself as a scapegoat on social media, in reference to prosecutors accusing him of organizing the fraudulent conspiracy. Alright, so now he is. Yeah, so he thinks a 7-year sentence is quite harsh. I would tend to agree, actually. I mean, he did defraud people, but not to the extent where there were millions of people defrauded, unlike Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX. So if I had been the judge, I would say 2 or 3 years would be appropriate. Every sunrise that since that plea has carried the same realization. I did this, me, I'm responsible, Santos wrote. But saying I'm sorry doesn't require me to sit quietly while these prosecutors try to drop an anvil on my head. Okay. Okay. Anyway, he was also forced to pay restitution and forfeit this much. All right. Well, you know what I'm going to say, right? Law of cause and effect. The cause is if you lie and defraud people, well, there will be consequences, and that's the effect. So, but I do feel that the punishment in this case doesn't really fit the crime. I mean, he, I guess he took that much, right? So of course he has to give it back in prison time. But yeah, 2 or 3 would be fair. 7 is a bit too harsh. I would agree with that. Anyway, what do you guys think? Leave your comments below. This has been your Master GongSun. As usual, keep living in alignment with the Tao.